we can do better to help our partners to sell and what challenges they're facing. So, and we've whittled it down to these three areas. So time seems to be a major factor. All our partners are very, very busy. This has been a strange year, to say the least. And getting that time to allocate towards launching a new vendor can be very challenging. Particularly learning the platform and being able to articulate it from both the sales and technical perspective. And also, it's not always usual that our partners will have a large sales and marketing division within their business to be able to get out the marketing material that we provide. So it may have been a misgiving on our part to think that we can just hand out marketing material and our partners will be able to make the most of that. So we wanted to give our partners something that is relatively unique in this marketplace, gives them an opportunity to talk about something different and really differentiate their offering, because we know the market is extremely competitive on the managed service space, and we know that differentiation can be quite difficult because there's so many partners that are offering similar services, and from the client's perspective, how do they know without trying the service for themselves, which one they should be taking? So the human risk report gives that opportunity to have a really tangible output, something that isn't necessarily common in the managed service space in terms of the topics we're talking about, and allows our partners to differentiate themselves, because the only partners that can talk about this area of the market are usecure partners. So we deliver two things during the human risk report process. So the first thing that we deliver is the human risk score. So this is very similar to a FICO score. So out of 900, ranking the business and their employees from low risk to high risk. So you can go out to a prospect or to your existing customer base and ask them if they want to understand how big a risk their employee population are from a cyber or InfoSec perspective. We also deliver something called time to breach. Now, time to breach is where we take the data from the risk score process and we allocate time frames to each step. And at each step, we can then join those together and give a time frame from saying, if someone was out looking to attack a business today and they chose your business, this is how fast they could breach you. We have to caveat that on the basis that this would be a social engineering attack that wouldn't get caught in any mail filter within the firewall or caught by antivirus or anything like that. It really is a worst case scenario, but for a lot of businesses that do get breached, it is the worst case scenario example that happens. So we give them these two metrics. So the risk score is something that is fundamental to the usecure platform and carries on through when they become a paying customer, so that we can work out how they improve over time. The time to breach is a one-time assessment during the process of the risk report. So how we calculate the risk score is taking various data points during the process. We then provide the risk implications of those data points, and then we give a remediation path. So essentially what we're doing is we're saying, this is the risk level of your business, this is what that means, and this is how you can fix it. So from a sales and marketing perspective, it really gives our partners a simple opportunity to go out there and start prospecting, building a quick business case with their prospects, and really removing the need to do it manually. So it's all automated and it's super simple to implement. The time to breach process is just allocating a time frame to each one of the steps that we do. And by doing that, we can piece together a full time frame from point A, which is a cyber criminal looking to attack a business, to the final point, which is the business being breached and giving their data away. So probably the most important process to understand is how we actually do this. So because the risk report is a sales and marketing tool, we knew that the barrier to entry to get this started would have to be very low. So when you're out talking in conversation with your prospects, the only thing you need to ask for to get this moving is an email address. So you can use the prospect's email address that you're talking to start the process of running the risk report. Now, at each step that we go further, we ask for a little bit more commitment from the prospect. Now, the reason why we do this is because it's framed in a process called commitment engineering. So at the first step, we ask for the client's email. Then at the second step, where we do the breach scan, we ask for a sample of their email addresses in their business or connection to Office 365. Then when we run the phishing simulation, we ask for, obviously, consent to be able to run the phishing simulation, and then whitelisting of the usecure IPs so that we can ensure the simulations land. Now, when the client actually gets the report at the end, because they've put some effort in and they've put some skin in the game, what that means is when you come to ask for the sale, you are more likely that the client will go ahead than if it was if there was no commitment in place across the process. So the reason why we've done it like this is simply because there are lots of marketing exercises that are promised from vendors, which ultimately are very scattergun and very high volume, and don't actually result in many many prospects coming across the line as customers. So we wanted to ensure this process was a high conversion event, so that you may talk to less prospects using this, but you will get more customers as an end result. So just going back to the 3 points we mentioned at the start, there's no training required to start using this. It's completely free as well. So you can start using the human risk report process straight out the blocks. It's designed to handhold you in an automated fashion all the way through. So for a lot of our partners, we see it quite common that they come to us, they see a demo, things might get in the way over the next couple of months, and they come back and say, I need a refresher demo because I've kind of forgotten what I saw 2 months ago. The risk report bridges that gap for our partners, and you can use the risk report, and it will give you exposure to the usecure platform in a real onboarding fashion, so that you can start using the platform after the risk report with confidence, and you don't necessarily need that refresher session. It's very simple and automated, so it's not reliant on a sales and marketing team to have these conversations and position it. It really is as simple as asking your prospect, are you interested in understanding the risk implications of your employees to your business? If so, I can start you in the process of getting you a full report that will explain the implications of what your employees could potentially mean in terms of a breach. And it will help you win new clients. Like I said, it's a totally free service. We're fully aware that usecure from a partner perspective is not going to be the most margin-rich opportunity for you. That will always be the services that you sell, but certainly the risk report can be used to get into accounts using usecure as the way in, and then you can then land and expand and sell in the more margin-rich services that you provide. So usecure is a real Trojan horse, and the risk report presents that opportunity to get into accounts very, very quickly and bridge out from there and make that account a very lucrative account for your managed service. So the platform itself, if you're familiar with UService, looks exactly the same. The only difference in there is that at the top, we now have introduced these key tasks. So it's very similar to like the way a CRM would work in terms of we provide tasks at each step along the way. So all you have to do is follow those tasks and make sure you're on top of all of the prospects you've got in there. And then we take you through each step, hand-holding you all the way to sale. At the end of the process, we actually ask you, would you like to convert this this prospect into a paid customer or into a free trial? So that's at step 4. So at that point, you get the opportunity, dependent on how the process has gone and the results in the report, whether you want to take that client forward into a paid account. So we see this helping in 3 areas. So the first area is you can take this immediately out to your existing customer base, and any that aren't using usecure already, you can use this as a tool to get usecure in there. The second area is if you're in conversations with a prospect and you're looking to speed up that sales cycle, this can be used, to launch the human risk report in a couple of days to really give them something that they can bill on very, very quickly. And then the third one is the more, blanket marketing campaigns. Trying to get very net new businesses to come and look and work with you and have conversations with you. So of course we'd expect. We supply all of the marketing material and assets that are required to go and do that for your email campaigns and social campaigns. And, but we definitely would see that, in that kind of 1, 2, 3 approach, you start with your existing customers, then with the warm leads, and then out to the more blanket marketing. So what I'll do is I'll just close off the presentation, and I'll just switch to the actual report itself. So I'll just zoom in on here. So you should be able to see that at the top here, we have the usecure branding. Now, this report is able to be white labeled. So if you have your white label settings set up in UService, we will just pull those in as well as your color scheme. At the top right, we have the risk score. So this is gated until the end of the report, but you can see that's out of 900 and it ranks from low risk to high risk. In here, we give a group of information from the initial domain scan, which we take from the email address, and we can tell the prospect what lookalike domains and connected domains, as well as connected applications and connected services they're using. So the way in which we frame this with the prospect is we say, look, everyday cyber criminals are out there looking for companies to attack. They use services like this to work out which companies they're going to target. Dependent on what they can see determines whether they're going to choose your company. So things like lookalike domains and connected domains give them the opportunity to see what they would need to dress up a URL to fool your employee. And then connected services and applications tell them what you're using inside your business. So a good example of this would be if you're using Salesforce inside your business and the attacker can see that, they know you're going to be expecting to receive email communication from that vendor. So they can dress up an attack looking like Salesforce, which will be more likely to succeed. So this is all about painting the picture that there are attackers looking at your business, and they're going to choose whether they're going to attack your business based on what they can see. The second step, where we ask for connection to Office 365 or a sample of email addresses, is where we do the breach scan using UBreach. And we can tell them how many of their users have been caught in high-risk breaches, medium-risk breaches, and low-risk breaches. We then give them the risk implications of that. Now, high-risk breaches are ones that include passwords. And this is a presentation PDF, so I can't click into this, but all of this content you can click into on these pluses and see more information about what's been caught there. Also, this is all smart content, so dependent on what the report finds means what we actually tell the client in terms of the risk implications. Finally, we do a phishing campaign with them, and during the phishing campaign, we tell them who opened the email, who clicked on the link, and who was compromised. We give them the risk implications of the phishing attack as well, and then once we've done that, we can calculate their time to breach score. So the time to breach score is based upon a few component parts. So one is the research element. So the research element is where we do the domain scan, and we're looking at what information the attacker can see. The more information they can see, the more quickly they can make the decision to attack you. The acquire assets and emails is based on how much information is in public breaches about your business. The more information that's available to the attacker, the quicker they can get hold of it and the quicker they can launch the attack. Actual creation of the phishing attack is based on a set time to acquire a domain from GoDaddy and set up the attack. And then the final piece, which is launching the attack and breach, is based on the shortest time frame of the most severe implication during the phishing attack. So in this one, someone was breached within 1 minute. So normally when you run a phishing campaign, most of the breaches happen in the shortest amount of time. So typically the launch attack and breach period is very short. So here you can see we've done the assessment, and we can tell this prospect that in a worst case scenario, if someone was to attack their business now, they could be breached within 1.5 hours. Once we've done that, we give them a summary and conclusion statement to tell them what this risk means to their business and what that could potentially, what implications that could potentially mean from a breach perspective. And then finally, we give them a remediation statement, so what they can do to reduce their risk score. So in here we say you'll need to do user training, you will need to implement data policy, you will need to run regular phishing assessments, and you will need to conduct regular scans of the dark web and known breaches. So these are mapped directly into the usecure product set. So UBreach, UPhish, UPolicy, and ULearn. So those services are sat behind your managed service. So this builds the business case. It gives them the conclusion as to how big the implication is from a risk perspective for that business, and then it tells them in very plain English how they can remediate those steps and improve the risk of their human element within their business. So it's at this point, when they've opened the final piece of the report, that we then ask the MSP, do you want to transition this prospect into a paying customer or a free trial? So really, really straightforward. Like I said, it's fully automated it really does remove the manual process of having to run a business case with a client for them to understand this. And it's designed so that you can put as many prospects as you want into this funnel and get as many paying customers out. So that's the end of the presentation.